All right. Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday. Don't be surprised and concerned when you see Simphiwe on a Wednesday. We haven't tried to screw up your whole universe, I promise. We definitely are not trying to confuse anybody. That I can promise you. Good morning, good morning, good morning, morning. How's everything, Simphiwe? How are you?
I am all good in the hood. How are you, Gareth?
Fantastic. Could not be better. I'm having an excellent week. Spring is like a moment away now. It's like
I know, right?
tomorrow's the last day of August. Then we're into
About
September,
time.
and I cannot wait. I'm so damned excited about. Just I can't even explain it to you. It's not like I have a reason. It's not like I've got anything coming up that's like the most amazing thing ever. But I love spring. I love this time of year. I just love everybody's mood gets better. Everything feels better. It's just wild.
Yes.
It's just so great. And I don't
It
think I'm
is.
the only one.
Oh no, I'm a lover of spring. Like we're gonna be out and about. It's just nice. You don't have to wear 50,000 clothes on you anymore. Like humanati, guys. Like
Hey,
mimosas and
can I just say,
margaritas. Like
whatever's,
yes, honey.
what are you doing differently in the studio this morning? The cameras look very good. What's happening there?
It's because I'm in the studio, Gareth. That's why.
I know, but why does it look, Ryan? What have you done? What does it look so different for?
I wiped the cameras.
Oh, come on! Are you
You
telling me
give
they were
the lens a
filthy?
clean.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. No, they just. I think they look really good. The lighting's good. It's very dark outside, so that's probably why.
Okay.
There's no light coming in.
It looks professional. Is that what you're telling me? You're
Yeah.
saying most days? You're saying most days we're not professional?
No, not at all. Ever since we got the new cameras in, we've been very professional.
I know. I like it. I think it's fantastic.
It's very good.
All right. So we got a couple of cool things on the schedule for this morning. Among other things, we're going to be talking to someone called Thea Booysen. Now, Ryan, you have to explain because you're the one who told me about her. I didn't know. I feel like
Yes.
such an idiot because I mean,
Yes.
clearly I'm not as clued up on like YouTubers as you are, and sometimes that's okay, that's funny old stupid old Gareth, and I try to keep up to date with stuff. But
Yeah.
it is interesting to me that like there's this whole universe of people who are genuinely like mega famous. I just don't know
Yeah.
who they are. And then when I find out who they are and I watch their stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, that's why they're famous. And like you wouldn't have known the name Thea Booysen, and she sounds like she could be a South African girl from I don't know Pretoria or whatever. So
Yeah.
so who is she, and tell us why we're going to be talking to her today. You do it because
So-
you don't need me.
So she's from Cape Town. She's a professional streamer, and I would say also a part-time YouTuber. But she's also dating one of the most notorious YouTubers of all time, Mr. Beast, if you're not familiar. And she recently
Well, I
went
don't
to
know.
Japan with
Why
her
do you call
video.
him- Why do you call him notorious? Because I mean, he's
Yeah, I was
hugely
about to
popular.
say,
Well,
he's not
more like-
dangerous.
No, he's
doesn't
genuinely
notorious
famous.
mean like cute? Like I thought it means like recognizable anywhere. Like
No,
What does
notorious means
oh,
you're
I have the
bad.
wrong definition. Oh, my
Yeah,
bad.
no, we
Okay.
need to say notorious. He's one of the most successful, famous
Yes.
YouTubers. Notorious is like
Sorry.
Vladimir Putin is notorious.
Okay, wrong word
Yeah.
completely. Let me take that back.
That's not the word of the day then.
No.
All right.
Simphiwe and I used to have the word of the day thing going. We haven't done it in a while though.
Yeah, we haven't.
There's like an app on your phone where you can set a time of the day for a word to pop up, and you kind of learn what it means.
Beautiful.
Just try and expand your.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We used to do that in my show.
Oh, really?
When I was a radio show, and we learned the most complicated and brilliant words. But if you ask me any of them now, I can't remember which ones we learned. I'll still use one or two occasionally and go like, "Oh, I remember that," but it has to pop into my head. It's not like I have the list anymore. But we had
That's
some
the problem.
amazing words, and the cool thing is that like because we learned it at the same time as our audience, and everybody would be using that word. So
You just
you know,
keep it
so-
going. That was
Yeah,
our problem. Was trying to make it stick. I think
Yes.
it was like trying to use it every day. Look, I think if you go toe to toe with anyone, you'll take anyone in terms of I don't know.
Word usage.
Yes, word usage.
Vocabulary.
Vocabulary. There we go. Jeez, life.
So Thea Booysen is dating Mr. Beast, but she
Yes.
herself is she's studied psychology and law, so she's no idiot. She's 24. She studied at the University of Edinburgh, and she has her own YouTube and Twitch channel. She plays competitive card games and games that spark her creative interests. And I mean, she seems to like have really just hit the ball out of the park by dating this guy, Mr. Beast. Are they still together now?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because this guy's got how many millions of followers? Ryan knows all these numbers. I mean, that's why he's always telling me what our numbers are. But what are Mr. Beast's numbers? Give us his report card here. This is pretty damned amazing.
He's got 179 million subscribers on
That's
YouTube.
on his main channel. Though.
That's the main channel.
So he has like what 3, 4, 5 other channels now, which also have like millions of subscribers, but that's the main one. And basically, what got him viral was the fact that he would give away money. He would there's a video. His first viral video was he gave a guy $10,000, and and then people were like, "What the hell? Who's this guy? Who's this kid?" And he's been doing it for like 10 years now. He's the best in the game.
Well,
and he no longer sees like YouTube as I'm just creating content. Like for him, this is a business. So he's like,
right.
And he's worked out like the first 10 seconds of any YouTube video always has to be, the most catching. So he never starts off like most YouTubers will be like, "Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm Simphiwe and
Right.
da 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 da." He doesn't do that. Like the first 10 seconds of every video of his is very different, but very like captivating. His thumbnails are incredible.
So the one that Ryan sent me, he sent me
Mhm.
this thing of like a $250,000 vacation that they went on in Japan.
Yeah.
A $250,000 vacation. This is now, who wouldn't be curious to see what that is, right? This is what makes this guy so clever.
Well, that's
It's
it, right? I mean,
amazing.
it kind of gives you a gateway for people who don't go to those kind of things as to what people in that kind of realm live like, I suppose.
But he also does.
It's just amazing to me that like South Africans turn up everywhere, right? We've got a princess, we've got the richest man in the world. We got the girl who's happened to be dating the biggest guy on YouTube. South Africans just pop up. We pop up everywhere. It's incredible.
Can't get rid of us now. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So I'm excited that she's going to be joining us today just to hear a bit more about her. But also just like if you've not followed some of the biggest YouTubers in your life, please do so because they really put on like proper Netflix style production.
They really need the help. They need all the support they could get.
Of course they do. Don't you know? Every YouTuber will always tell you, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
If you can, make a contribution to their Patreon. They're so desperate for money. So Ryan,
$1 goes a long way, guys.
What kind of money would you earn from YouTube if you had 100,000 subscribers?
I don't actually know. I really don't know the kind of money one can earn from YouTube. From what I've heard, know this. I mean, Simphiwe is host of Third Draft. It's kind of a thing, but like, it's I know YouTube is a very trusted platform in terms of a lot of people put their adverts on YouTube, and so it does get decent income in terms of if you have a good viewership, I think.
I can give you some of like the numbers. Like some of the top 10 YouTubers are earning like from anywhere from $3 million to 15 to 20 million US on YouTube, and they're all doing various things. Mr. Beast is up there, Logan Paul's up there, and so that's the thing. And all these guys have different YouTube channels, so I guess that's how they do it with the AdSense and the adverts on YouTube because they also charge for that. And then also watch time. Like Mr. Beast is very big on watch time. Like I think gets over like 70% of watch time, which is incredible. Because he's like studied YouTube. He's like the master of YouTube. He's just like he takes like forever to just take out one video. He recreated Squid Games. And that was like one of his biggest or most watched videos of all time.
I'd hate to know how much money went into that.
Yeah. And and Mr. Beast is crazy. Like every cent that he makes from YouTube goes back into YouTube. He's like, yeah, I'm broke. He's just a broke man walking.
Well, I mean, you say he's broke, but I mean, he does pretty amazing things. And what he does with his money is he keeps the excitement and the interest going, right? That's so clever, because most people would say, oh, well, I'm onto a good thing here. I'll just live off the passive income from this. But he's always taking things in a new and novel direction, and that's very clever. So yeah, we'll be talking to her a bit later on. There's plenty to do there, and I think she's going to be a fantastic person to talk to about how it all actually works. And she's written a book, by the way, which you can get here on Take a Lot too, which we'll talk about there too. But it is a regular Wednesday. Otherwise, we've got lots to get into. So yesterday we tore into Ryan, Bakabantu and I anyway. Before Muzi Kuzwayo came into the studio and we had to get adult, we were being children for about 5 seconds. And we basically we can't believe that your favorite actor in the whole world and someone who you regard as the best in the business is Adam Sandler.
Yes.
Oh, what, Ryan?
I don't know how anyone can dispute this, Gareth. Adam Sandler is like one of the greatest actors ever. I know everyone says he plays a similar parts in every movie, but
the same.
Every single movie he makes is a hit, and I can watch like a whole weekend of just Adam Sandler movies.
Right, I don't even know.
This is how we know you from the West Rand. You say things like that, like
what? Well, so who do you guys like? Well, let's hear some of your favorite actors.
Denzel Washington is right up there. Like, I mean, have you seen his catalog? Right?
Yeah, look, I agree with JP. Jack and Jill was cock. That was terrible.
Okay.
So that was just the one.
He is capable of doing a bad performance.
No, he is capable. He is capable.
I'm not going to have this competition with you. As Muzi reminded me yesterday, one of my favorite stories is, the bee says to all the other insects, I'm not going to explain to a fly why flowers are better than shit. It's just, it's not even, I don't need to, and I'm not going to smash you around here. Clearly, a lot of people in the world agree with you. There are a lot of people who watch Adam Sandler and find him very funny.
But to rank him as your best, like that is where it gets sketchy. Like, I get the fact that he's dropped a lot of movies out there. They're quite successful. He's a funny oak. But the best? Oh, Ryan.
I didn't say he was the best. I said he's my favorite.
Yeah. Hey,
I didn't say he was the best.
He's the best if he's your favorite.
Right? Look, you put on any Adam Sandler movie, and I'm captivated. I'm watching the whole movie. Happy Gilmore, classic. Hustle, that came out like a year or two ago, classic. Uncut Gems, brilliant.
You know what's nice? Is we live in a world where there is whatever anybody wants, they can have. If you are an Adam Sandler fan, you can watch Adam Sandler. Who the hell is Gareth or Simphiwe or anyone else to give you shit about that? You do you, Ryan. I would rather have my eyes injected with ink than watch an Adam Sandler movie again. I can't stand the guy. I think he's like the most cheesy, just the worst. That voice drives me. He's got a sort of whining voice. It's just everything about the guy just drives me up the wall. But there's a place for him. Someone said in the comments he's worth $250 million. It's rebellious.
Shout out to that. Shout out to him.
He kind of got a deal with Netflix.
A lot of Ryans out there.
Mm-hmm.
He's worth $250 million. Good for him.
It's a good choice. You know what I mean? Adam Sandler's great. Netflix signed him on as like a permanent, I would say, director or producer, and they gave him unlimited budgets to make whatever movies he's wanted. I mean, that's insane.
In his defense, I do think he plays a character, because I've heard very, very nice things said about him by other Hollywood actors. Like, apparently he's like a good guy, and he's very real, and not like at all as irritating as his characters in his movies.
Okay.
The real Adam Sandler apparently is not a moron at all. So
No.
you know what? If he's playing that role and he's fulfilling some people's idea of what a good movie star is, and I mean, it's like some people love Vin Diesel and those Fast and Furious movies. I've never sat through one, so who am I to judge? I don't know these things. My
Yes,
favorite
and
movie. You asked like who's my favorite actor. I don't know if I
Yeah.
have a favorite actor, but my favorite movie you're going to think is so dreary and terrible and depressing, but it still remains unchallenged in my top spot. And it's a movie that was made, I think, in the 90s. It's called Remains of the Day. It's got Anthony Hopkins, Emma Thompson, Christopher Reeve. It's just the most beautiful movie. I mean, it's like it's storytelling. The acting is superb. It's just so very good. And that's not everyone's cup of tea either, you know?
Mm.
I wouldn't
Okay.
expect you guys to love that. But some people love an action movie. So they're big fans of like Tom Cruise and Arnold Schwarzenegger and those kind of guys.
Do you rewatch movies a lot? 'Cause I feel like you're not the type to kind of just sit down and rewatch all your favorite movies all the time.
I haven't watched. Like once I've seen a movie, I'm usually okay with not having to see it. I'm like that with a lot of things. The only thing I repeat is music.
I'm
Music.
shook. I'm
You-
shook at Gareth.
you-
Like,
You
if
you
I
repeat
love a
movies?
movie, I will end up knowing line by line what the actors say. I'll be like, here's my scene, here's my part, and then
You go line by line.
Yeah, you have to. There are some movies that captivate you, and you just like, or like Inception. I had to watch it again because the first
there's
time
a few
around,
movies.
I was like, okay, I didn't really get this. Let me watch it the second time around to actually understand what's going on. So definitely, I'm a lover
well,
of watching movies repetitively.
So
now that I
Gareth,
think, now that I think about it, like one of my favorite movies ever, and someone brought this up the other day, is Scary Movie, right? The Wayans brothers did this. I mean, I've been such a fan of theirs for the longest time. So Scary Movie, I've probably watched a couple of times because I can't get enough of that shit. You see, like
I
Simphiwe
was not expecting Scary Movie.
so that there's something so funny about that,
Doing dying over
in
there.
love. And use my strong hand, child, and all the dumb shit they do in that movie. I mean, it's so clever and funny. So I suppose that kind of thing I could watch over and over
Yeah,
again.
someone even said, "What's
So,
Okay.
all right, not all
Okay, I'll
serious
give you that.
movies, but that's got to be in my top 10 of all time. Is Scary Movie.
I was expecting that top 10. But Gareth, I don't know if you've overheard, but Simphiwe's got this thing going where with her friends that she does movie nights now every week.
Yeah, I know.
So like
Sounds like
she's in the
super cool.
office asking us like what, because I think it's her turn to pick a movie,
Mhm.
and they have to pick horror movies, like these weird kind of movies that make you think. And so everyone in the office kind of has their own horror movie that they're like really is either mind boggled by or very scared of. And so it's just quite interesting to see how like gory people go, or how like I said to Simphiwe she must go with Shutter Island, because that movie blew my mind completely.
Someone says so.
Disclaimer, I don't watch horrors. So when people were busy, like, you should watch this and watch that, I was judging them. I'm like, this is what you watch at home. This is the entertainment for you. 2 hours. You just want to be shook and
can't,
scared and jump.
I can't do horror movies. It's not. I just don't get the enjoyment most people do out of it. It's like cooking shows. I can't watch those either. It's weird what appeals to different people. I mean, we got Adam Sandler fan, Ryan on the show. We've got some
Scary movie fan Gareth.
Well, yeah, I mean, but there's certain stuff like if you put it on, I'm just not gonna watch. And I'll still have a good time if I'm with my friends and they're all watching it. Someone said in the comments here, Sanella says, Jeepers Creepers. Oh my God. I watched that ages ago, like, I don't know, 15 years ago or something. That is a terrifying, horrible. You go watch that one. Put that on your list. Simply.
Simphiwe, put that on your list.
Jeepers Creepers.
I haven't.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
What's okay. Okay,
So
it's on the
I don't
list.
know why. I don't know why, but like horrors and thrillers, not really my scene. But I do remember the stuff that really scared the bejesus out of me was Wrong Turn, The Hills Have Eyes. You know, have these inbred weird people. Because I think I'm not really scared of monsters and stuff. But in a horror movie, if the people are the monsters, like they're these inbred, like people who eat people, make these weird noises, that
Mm.
shit scares the hell out of me. That
And can
is
I
not.
tell you the plot of all of them? The black
Mm.
person dies first. All of them. All the time.
Really?
Oh, that's
Yes.
my. They said that in Scary Movie. In Scary Movie, they say basically the black guy gets killed off first.
And I was like, I'm done with this. I'm not trying to get mad. I'm done.
I
Yeah.
remember watching, because people are now coming up with names in here. Like Duncan says, the Blair Witch Project. I hated that
Oh,
movie.
yes.
So it was just everybody. There was so much hype around it. It's like the scariest thing ever. But it's just these cameras moving and being dropped, and like by the time you walk out of there, you're like, "The hell just happened?" It's very unsettling. I suppose that's
I've
the
never seen
point.
a horror movie at a theater before. That must be an interesting experience. I've only ever watched like horrors at home. Have you seen a horror movie at a
Oh,
movie
hell
theater?
no. I'm probably one of the worst people to watch a movie with, but I'm also one of the best people to watch a movie with because I do the typical, I talk back at the screen. I'm like reactive to the
Don't go down
scenes.
there! Don't go down there!
And then when something happens, I'm also like,
He's not in the basement.
I'm that person. So for some people, it's annoying. For others, they're like, yes, yes.
Oh, they embrace it. Yeah.
So yeah.
Jason says, don't forget in those horror movies, the jock always goes next after the black guy, then the naughty girl. And it's always the virgin and the nerd who survive.
Yes. Yes.
That's exactly
Yes.
right. In
And
every
also
single movie.
let me tell you also in every single horror movie is that they go to where the problem is. I don't
Oh,
understand. Like there will be an event that takes place and it's all dark and gloomy. And then the group will be like, what's over there? Let's go see. No, no, turn around, carry on with your life. Like, why are we going into that pitch black, like dog hole? No. Oh, guys, it's just
idiots.
it's
They're all
pathetic.
morons, but then they're doing it for our entertainment, Simphiwe, so we got to be happy about that. So Sugar Shabalala says, this show is my favorite thing of the day. 6 a.m. is now my new favorite time. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it's very
That's lovely.
nice.
I like that.
Hello, sugar.
You're being discovered by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought of another pretty scary movie that I saw. And listen, there's so many. I haven't actually seen that many horrors, but the ones that I have seen, like I didn't ever do. What were those? There was like, the Saw movies messed my head up.
Oh, I
Final
watched all of them.
Destination, the Final Destination movies. Those were hectic because these terrible ways to die come up, and you think, who thinks of this? It's like who comes up with the challenges in Saw? We must find those people and put them in prison. Those are not good people.
Yeah. And then you have to think about the fact that they have to like reenact what this guy just put on paper. And sometimes they have to do a second scene and a third scene.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, excuse me,
Mhm.
this can't enter off here. Can't enter off. Like, I'm just like, and I guess this is why I don't really like horror movies because it's just like, this is so, it's almost like demonic sometimes. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
get behind me, Satan. Get behind me.
Imagine being an actor who has to put yourself in this terrifying scene.
Oh, man.
It's not real, but I mean, like, I think I would shit myself. I would, the monster's going to come. It's going to come. It's just like in the movie, it's going to come. When they go down that dark passage, something's going to get them. And as the actor, you probably know that too. So I think a lot of it is genuine terror.
I mean, imagine if they didn't tell the actors and they just said, like, we'll give you like script by script, part by part as we go. You don't actually know the outcome.
No, then they got to be paid danger pay.
I used to read those Goosebumps books. I don't know if you ever read those.
Thing. No, but tell me about.
No, they were really cool because you could pick the ending. or like pick. You could make decisions in the book, so you could. You'd read up to a certain thing, and then a decision would have to be made, and then you'd have to turn to this page to go to that scene, and
Oh,
this page for
nice.
another. It's kind of like, I don't know if you watch Black Mirror on Netflix. There was a season where they did that interactive kind of decision making thing, but that's as far as I kind of got in terms of horrors, like growing up, because I couldn't watch them.
So how many of
That's
these
dope.
how many of these things have you done, Simphiwe, with this group of friends? Do you do this every week?
Well, we try to do it every week.
Okay.
We've had like 3 successful ones. And in all 3, I wasn't happy with the movie choice at all. Well, no, the one I think was good. It was Hypnotic, which is like a movie that recently came out, and basically it's about this guy who I don't know, like he's trying to locate his wife or kid. Yeah, his kid, but he can't remember exactly. And so he goes through like this loop just to find out that this entire thing was staged. That's basically Hypnotic. Then we watched something Dead Evil, something that was the first horror that I watched. Oh my
Oh.
gosh. Also that
What's it
one.
called? Dead Evil.
Yeah, something Rise. It's
Oh my
Dead
God, no.
Evil Rise or something like that. And basically, what happens is like there's this mom with her kids. She sends the kids to get some pizza. They come back. There's like a bit of an earthquake, and then the kids, they do what kids do: go into, the place that they're not supposed to go into. This child picks up a vinyl. It starts playing out like this thing that's basically summoning the spirit, and then
No.
it's shikukukuku in that movie, and I'm like, "Ay, Bosana." Um, and then the last one, which is one that it's on YouTube. Oh my gosh, the strange things that happen in the Joneses or something like that. It's a 30-minute watch. Absolutely weird. Basically, I'm gonna give this one away because no one should watch it. I don't think anyone should ever watch this movie. It's about this like family man who has a son, and then the son ends up raping the dad, essentially.
Sweet Jesus, what kind of movies are you watching?
That
Horrible.
was just,
Sheesh.
I was just like, what? It's 30 minutes. It's on YouTube. Don't go watch it. It's
So let me ask you something. So if you don't like the movie that someone else has chosen, do you participate, or do you say, well, I'll take care of the snacks, or because it's obviously at someone's house. So what you
Yes.
do is like everybody's in charge of bringing something, because it's expensive to cater and entertain people these days. Everybody brings something. There's lots to eat. There's lots to
Yes.
drink.
Yes.
People are having a good time. And what do you do if you're not into the movie? You just hover around?
Oh no, we'll watch it. And then at the end of the movie, we all kind of vote to say, was this a good pick or was this a horrible pick? And if the majority says this was a horrible pick, then there's like a punishment or dare that the person that picked the movie has to do. So it keeps everybody on their toes, because we just like, we don't want trash movies.
So you still have to watch it, and
yes,
then
we still have to watch the movie, and then at the end of it, be like, this was trash, and the majority of us think it was trash, and because it's trash, now you need to run around butt naked or do something stupid, or like there is consequences for bad decision making.
The pressure to pick a movie. Now I see why you're trying to get good suggestions.
A lot of pressure.
That sounds terrifying.
No, it's good. The pressure is on, and people must bring it. So yeah. But there's like 6 of us, so you have to get like
Graham says in the comments, Sharknado. Now if you used Sharknado as your movie, I think you'd get punished very badly. Maybe you should think about that. I don't know. All right.
Okay.
Let's take a look at some of the stuff in the news, because there's quite a lot going on today. What day isn't there stuff going on? All right. So Kenny Quintene, who he is this is unbelievable. It's almost a little bit it's not a little bit, it's very tacky. So clearly Kenny Quintene thinks that money is the most important thing in the universe, because that's how he has made himself important, right? Is by making money. Before that, he felt like a loser and he's insecure and all that. And I surmise that he's probably still an insecure, unhappy guy. But Last week, he invited the lowest paid female municipal employees in his department, and he
Hmm.
brought them to his office and bought them 700 Rand Moët Chandon champagne, Hennessy cognac, Johnny Walker whiskey, and other drinks. Now, even if he paid for this out of his own money, which I don't know that he did, he said he and his wife paid for the alcohol,
Yeah, I
not
want
the.
to see.
But there's something very cruel and just so insensitive about taking someone who lives on a very, very low wage. Like, this is the lowest paid female municipal employees. This could be, a woman who cleans out the rubbish bins, or I'm not saying it's undignified work, but she's not used to, nor would she necessarily want a 700 Rand bottle of champagne or a 2,000 Rand bottle of cognac. I think she could probably find better ways to spend her money. And I'm not going to guess for her. Maybe, just maybe, the person who has the lowest paid job at the municipality is an alcoholic and they really love to drink. Who knows, right? Maybe Kenny knows something I don't. But to me, it just feels almost like you're rubbing someone's nose in their poverty. You're like,
Hmm.
here's a bottle of really, really expensive. I'm Kenny Quintene. I drink this champagne. You've never had any of this, have you? Here's a 700 Rand bottle of champagne. It just feels like really, really shitty to me. And tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh,
No, I think you're spot on. No, this is coming from the same guy who's an influencer. Do you remember we played that video a couple months back or a couple weeks back where he was in the bottle store advertising this one bottle store on the street? I just think it's super insensitive.
I would say I guess maybe if we do go with the assumption that like maybe this worker is an alcoholic, they would have appreciated the booze. But I think what would have been great as well is here's some booze and also here's a bonus and here's some more money so that you can live off um you can
Yeah.
live off your salary comfortably. And I think that's the thing. Like someone once suggested, like one of the greatest reality shows that we could possibly ever have is to take all these millionaires and then in turn for like the month or week, they have to survive off the lowest earning
The
Well,
lowest wage, right?
you see,
wage.
I think,
And then
I,
it's like,
I think
let's see
with
if you're
Kenny,
really gonna survive.
so Kenny did know what it meant to be poor, and he was in prison, so he knows what that's like. So it's not something that he's never experienced. I think
But you
what's
forget, Gareth.
in his head, he thinks that he's better because he has money now. That's the problem. Um, and that is not an experience. It's not like he doesn't know what it's like to have nothing or to be poor or to be in jail. He knows that stuff, but he doesn't care about other people. I mean, this is the guy who's famous for, eating sushi off of girls, and to him, there's nothing wrong with that. If you have money, you must use it to show other people that you're better than them. That's what goes on in his head, and it's so patently clear to anyone who looks at it, except it's not clear to Kenny Kunene. He has no self-awareness about this stuff. So it would be like a really, really rich person. You know, the difference is like you don't have to be super rich, right? You could offer to pay someone's groceries at a shop, and nobody would ever know. And you didn't even need to tell that person. You could say to the cashier, that person who's coming up after me, put it on me. I'll come and sort it out with you afterwards, but quietly. Like, nobody needs to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you see like a little old lady in the shop and she's buying like 2 or 3 things and you think, shame, maybe that's all she can afford, and you offer to pay for her, that is a truly generous thing. Buying municipal workers who are the lowest paid female employees a bottle of expensive champagne, it's about Kenny. It's not about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it also tells you that South Africa has a drinking problem. Like the fact that we are so obsessed with visuals, I don't think we understand how severe this problem is. We
Mm.
are obsessed with visuals. And for him to just naturally be like, yeah, I'll get you the most expensive bottle. It's like a
Yeah.
flex. It's like when guys take out their car keys. Like this is the biggest flex for him. He's like, I can afford any alcohol beverage. Just come to me. Yo, son, I'm so bored.
Yeah. It's look, it's just that maybe we shouldn't criticize. He's doing what he thinks is maybe he really believes. Maybe he really believes he's a kind and generous person, and this is what good people do. If it is, tells you quite a lot about the way that some people think of themselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a strange thing to do.
I
So
kind of
weird.
expect it from Kenny Quintene though. I'm not shocked, you know.
So if it was Cupcake, would you be shocked?
I mean, a little bit, but more. I expected more from Kenny Quintene, just because he's more notorious for being that wild,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, he also had a lavish party to celebrate the department that he's in charge of, even though they have an inability to provide services to residents in the city. See, again, maybe if he was a terrific mayor and he was doing the best job and people had a huge approval rating of what he was doing, and there were no potholes in the street. Not no, but he sorted out a lot of the potholes, and he got the billing crisis in hand, and
Mm-hmm.
and maybe
Do
we'd
your
say,
job.
yeah, maybe we'd say, well, you know what, dude, you deserve a bit of a party. Get all the people who've been working so hard together. But we know that's not the case, right? First, you have to get the basics right. No party without getting the basics right. Otherwise, Kenny should go into private business. He shouldn't be in politics. And he should do whatever he wants with his money in private business, because then we don't have a say. But I'm afraid we do have an opinion. We do have a say if it is a public business or a public enterprise or a public service. Anyway, I don't expect very much more from him. And again, I don't think Kenny Quintene is a horrible person. I think he's just trash. He's vulgar. That's the word to use. He's just vulgar. He's just like not used to much, you know. This
Right.
is how it's tactless and trashy and all that kind of thing. A surgeon, I hate this story. A surgeon pulled a live 8-centimeter snake parasite from a woman's brain after she cooked some grass. Listen to this.
Wait, what?
A live parasitic snake or worm was found inside the brain of a 64-year-old Australian woman, marking the first case of infection in humans. The discovery is made by doctors at the Australian National University and Canberra Hospital after they found a live 8-centimeter roundworm in the woman's head.
Oof.
Now, usually you only find these worms in a python. In a python, like a big fat python snake.
Yeah.
It was pulled from her after brain surgery. It was still alive and wriggling. The worm's larvae were also expected to have infected other organs in the woman's body, including her lungs and her liver. And they pulled this thing from her brain after she cooked and ate grass. Now, that is terrifying to me. I hear stories like this. A friend of mine sent me this video on YouTube. Ugh, she sent me this video of this this guy who got like a brain fungus from a swimming pool.
Wait, what? So, guys, no.
But just from like swimming?
This guy got into a dirty swimming pool and he swam, and something crawled into his ear or up his asshole or into his mouth or something, and then he had a brain fungus. I hear stories like that, and it just makes me think, the world, there are some nasty things out there. There's some very, very nasty things that are trying to kill us. There's some evil shit. Like, what kind of a creature evolves to live, grow to 8 centimeters long? It's like this long, live in the brain. What kind of creatures designed to do that?
Like, what's it? And it must be eating something or gripping on something, because that's not. I mean, my dad used to tell me these stories of when he was in the army and how they used to have to sleep with things over their ears because they were those insects that would climb into the ears and actually like drive you insane.
Ears. Yes.
Yeah. So that whenever we went camping, I'd freak out because I was like, no way, that thing. I don't want to be close to anything near that.
But now this makes sense why kids don't like grass. I don't know if you guys have seen like videos where they've like taken babies and they put them like on grass and then they just Like,
Just
no,
like roll off.
yeah, no, they're like they have like the super strength of like, no, I'm not gonna touch the grass. No, I'm not doing that. And then you put them on the like other side, and then they sit comfortably, and you're like, wait, okay, let's bring you back again. They're like, no, I'm not doing
Those
that.
babies
I
know
see
something,
why.
right?
I see why they're like, me and grass were not friends because what? Why?
That's
You're
so
fighting
weird.
a
I used
war.
to, I used to love being I played on the lawn all the time when I was a kid.
Wow, you didn't eat the grass. Now
No.
we know.
But it is probably cultivated grass as well. It wasn't, you know.
Yeah, I don't think these things are everywhere. It's Australia is well known for having a bunch of creatures that live, in there that just want to kill you. Whether it's in the sea or in the trees or among the rocks, they have scorpions and spiders and things that live in the coral that just want to kill you. I mean, I'll never forget Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. This was like a fearless guy, right? Famous, went all over the world, handled snakes, and was around very vicious, dangerous mammals. What happens? He goes for one swim in the Great Barrier Reef, and he gets taken out by this stingray.
Yeah.
Poor guy. It's just finished. It's like done.
Yeah.
So you just be careful, friends. There's still, no matter how civilized we've made the world, no matter how safe we think we've made the world, there are things out there that want to kill you. That's all.
Humans and animals don't mix, and don't try force that.
Something's going to try and kill
be
you.
separate. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, listen, Leanne even brought up yesterday, on Monday on the show, that we went to this monkey sanctuary in Mpumalanga once. They've got chimpanzees and baboons, and you have to separate those things out. If a baboon strays by mistake into the chimp enclosure, finished.
Really?
They will rip it limb from limb.
Wow.
That poor baboon won't know what the hell's happened. So yeah, listen, it's tough. It's tough out there. Let's just stay in our houses.
Wait,
okay?
but the real question is, why was she eating grass? Like, what? Wait. Whoa. Let's come back to that.
Yeah.
Like, why? Wait. I see everything else. What is that her thing? Is that her diet?
No,
like,
or was
is
the
that...
worm already inside, and then she was just cooking grass because?
But what?
because it
Like,
altered
yes,
the way
but
of
I'm
thinking.
like, what? Does she go and harvest grass? Like, what happens?
That's a clever way of thinking about this. I like the way Ryan says, no, maybe she was crazy because the thing was already in her brain. That's why she's eating the grass.
Well, I mean, that's the way I understand it, right? Why on earth would you cook grass? Like, I go with Simphiwe's point. Why on earth would she be eating grass?
People do weird things. That is just, I think we should have known there. It's just like cooking grass. Ma'am.
How does one even cook grass?
Why?
We'll leave it there.
Thank you.
Listen to this story. So apparently a teacher in Cape Town was dismissed for touching and tickling learners. A Grassy Park primary school teacher who tickled or touched 4 female learners near their breasts has been dismissed on sexual conduct charges. One of the girls, aged 13, testified that the teacher, 53, was checking her maths work when he tickled her under her breast. The teacher pleaded guilty and acknowledged he was aware of the rule that he could not touch learners. Talking about dodgy things in the wild. There are dodgy things in our schools.
That last line, he just acknowledged that it may have been something that he can't do. Oh my God.
Oh, you think?
That means he knew it was wrong.
Dude, you think it was, you think it's against the rules for you to touch your students
come on.
13 under their breasts? What are you, insane? Who
Yeah,
doesn't
No,
know?
you find it questionable?
Yeah. Well, he acknowledged it, which means that he did it willfully. He did it with, thinking he wasn't going to get caught.
Mm-hmm.
How are we still coming across cases like this in this day and age? Like, we've come so far, but it seems like some people still aren't moving forward.
Well, Luzanne says, Grassy Park, eating grass. That's why we should be smoking grass instead.
We'll just leave grass alone altogether. Like, we'll just leave all of it.
Teachers are weird, but okay. All right.
Yeah, but we've got such a problem in this country. I mean, we've got like schoolgirls who get pregnant by their teachers. You know, this is not an unheard of thing in this country, right?
Oh, yes. I recently saw a TikTok video of this teenage girl basically announcing her pregnancy to her friends. And she was just like, this is how my friends react to me being pregnant. And I was like, what the hell is this? If I was your mother right now, I would have been beating you. You're not going to post a whole TikTok video telling us, oh, this is how my friend reacted to me being pregnant. Eh? Like, can teenage mom come back? Can we just, hey, guys, I don't understand. Like, we can't be endorsing such teenage pregnancy. I'm sorry, no, can't.
No, it's a disaster.
No, we
All
can't.
right,
We can't be embracing that. So yeah.
So here's something else. Takealot is making more Samsung TVs available as part of its Back the Box promotion, following recent big Springbok wins against Wales and New Zealand, which apparently sent TV sales surging. So if you want to sell TVs, you need the Springboks to win. After first running the promo for the Rugby World Cup in Japan 4 years ago, they decided they're again going to offer to refund customers who buy certain TVs the full amount of their purchase. The catch is that the Springboks must win the 2023 World Cup in France. In 2019, Takealot refunded 346 shoppers a combined 4 million rand after Siyakalisi and the Boks were crowned champions in Japan. So you want a free TV? First, go and buy it with your actual money and then put it in your house, watch the World Cup. If the Springboks win, there's a good chance that Takealot will actually refund you the cost of your TV. Isn't that cool?
That is dope. I like that.
I mean, didn't they learn the
like
first time when they had to pay out 300 people?
But I'm sure they made more.
Maybe they decide not to. Like afterwards, you go and buy a TV. You're like, I really can't afford this. But
can you imagine, like the head of marketing when they watch that friendly game against New Zealand? They must be like, "Oh no, what have we done?"
No, but they said certain TVs, so I promise you, it's not going to be the best of the best. It's probably that one that is not even a smart TV. It's just 12-inch. It doesn't do much. I promise you, they're giving you
smack it on the side to make it work.
Do you have to present a TV license when you buy off an online store?
Yes,
really?
you do.
I feel like they'd sell way more if you didn't.
Well, you're not allowed to. This is part of the problem. So what I did to get around that, so that if anybody else has a similar problem, is I found a friend of mine she's such a good person. She pays her TV license every year. She's one of those people who never breaks the rules. She's still got an e-tag in her car, all that stupid stuff. God bless her. I mean, she's the kind of person who, you know, these parasites who come after us and try to get our money. She would give them her money willingly. But she's a very sweet human being. So I said to her, listen, come with me. I need to buy a TV. Like 10 years ago. And then we just used her TV license. We said we're buying it for her. They're not going to check. How do they know?
Is there like a limit to how many TVs a household can have?
I don't think so.
No, there isn't, right? Because do you let those weird people in who knock on the door and they want to count how many TVs you have? Because I don't.
Oh, please.
Wait, that's the thing?
No, have you not seen this?
If someone came to my house and they knocked on the door and then they said to me, we just need to count the number of TVs you have, I would say, just wait right here. And I'd get my gun and I'd come back to the door and I'd say, all right, what did you want to do? And I'd just hold the gun up like this. And then I'm pretty sure they'd leave.
Are you saying this has not happened to any of you guys?
I don't know of that, but also that sounds like someone's about to break and enter my house. Yes, why you want to know how many TVs I have? That's very specific.
No, because we've had a couple people, and there's more than one of them that go up our street and they knock on every door to they want to come inside to count how many TVs you have. And I was like, no,
Brian, I
don't feel safe.
That is such an obvious criminal.
I feel like it was real though.
Where do they say they come from? What kind of people do you have?
I don't let anyone in, but I'm just saying,
Brian,
I just thought this was a normal thing.
Do they have some ID? Do they say that we're from the SABC or something? What do they tell you?
I can't remember where they said they're from, but it was like a legit thing where people were just letting people into count their TV. I was like, no, it's not happening.
You must ask, did the crime rate increase after those visits? What happened?
But that sounds like the most perfect thing. if you want to rip off like gullible people, just go to Ryan's neighborhood and tell them that you're there to count the TVs, and then you'll know how many TVs you can steal.
I can't believe this hasn't happened to anyone else.
No.
This is a regular thing.
TVs, dog. No.
I've never let them in, but I'm just.
Ricky says Ryan is so gullible, he'll help the criminals load the TVs in their car.
No, I'm not like that. But I had friends who did that, which is hilarious. So
What?
they came pretending to buy the TV and they loaded it up and then they just kind of bounced.
But it says, Ryan, you're the only person that this has happened to. Why?
Please, if this has happened to anyone else, just come forward and let me know, because I'm pretty certain it's a thing.
It's a Western thing for sure. For sure.
You.
Oh man.
Make it make sense says we don't even let the meter readers onto our property.
Oh yeah, no, ain't no way. I'm the worst. I hate anyone who comes to knock on my door. Like, I've even disconnected the intercom. I don't know why people have intercoms in their house. Like, why was that ever a thing? Like, who has a direct line into their house?
Well, I mean, listen, if you've got a gate that's far from the house, doesn't it make sense? Before you open the gate, let someone announce themselves.
Well, text me, and if I know you, you can come in, and if I don't know you, you're not welcome.
Listen, once upon a time, people didn't have phones, Ryan.
Yeah,
so
Ryan,
the best way to communicate, to know if you're home, was to be like, hi.
Darren says, can we come into your house and count the money in your safe, Ryan? Yeah, Ryan, we need to see what jewelry your mom has.
Oh, man.
Can you also just show us, just make a list of all the electronics that you have in your house that we could steal, and then just in case, so that we know, just so we know.
Yeah, somebody says here in the comment, it's a census thing.
Yeah, but that's for voting purposes, is it not? So they ask how many people stay in the house. I know that.
Okay, yeah.
They don't ask about how many
maybe
TVs you have.
Like,
right?
No, they shouldn't be asking you about TVs. There's nothing in the census that they need to know about how many TVs you have.
Well, I don't pay much attention to it.
All right, Chef. That was a scam waiting to happen. That was just yeah.
You know, the funniest thing is, like, because I'm driving one of Phil's cars, whenever I get a call from one of these insurance people, I just say to them, I don't own a car, which is the truth, right? I don't own a car at the moment. So if anyone says to me, have you paid your TV? And I say, I don't have a TV. Because I figure it this way. So I watch maybe an hour of TV a week. Maybe. Yeah, I'm not a big TV guy. So if they ask me about TV, I'm not really lying, because it's only maybe an hour a week. Even less. Some weeks I don't even turn the damn thing on. I had to upload I had to upload new software the other day because my TV had been off for so long that it wouldn't work. It didn't know how to connect to like anything else. And I had to do this software update. And it's old. I mean, my TV's, I didn't even know it had software on it. It's like from 2010, 12.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. It's that old.
It's time for an upgrade. It's time for, but I would say go get a TV.
I'm going to say 2009. So my TV, I haven't updated for years. And therefore, I don't feel I should be paying some stupid license. In any case, I'm already paying for the TV. And I don't watch SABC or listen to any of their radio stations or appreciate any of the work they're doing. So why the hell should I be paying for it and pay for things you don't want? Why would you do that? You go around buying like the ugliest piece of furniture you can just so that someone else can have it? Hell no. Doesn't make sense to me.
Well,
so Sugar Shabalala seems to be confused. Is Ben hanging out with Kenny Quintene today? No, it's not Friday.
Friday.
If you check your diary, you check your watch or your phone right now, you will see that it is actually Wednesday, the 30th of August. So Simphiwe is on the show, but that does not mean it's Friday. I had the same feeling when I saw her this morning.
Sorry, sorry about that.
Tracy makes another good point about these TVs. Technically, we don't have TVs. We have screens and monitors that connect to the internet.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'm done with TVs. I don't think I'll ever purchase a TV. But my newest love is smart projectors. So that's what I'm gonna have in my house. And they do everything that a TV does, but just portable.
Better. And they're better, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The price tag is also not as expensive as some of these
Oh, really?
50-inch TVs. Yeah, like you can spend like 50,000 for a TV, whereas like a smart projector could cost you what, 20? So
Okay.
it's one of those where it's like
But
it
if it's
is
like
cheaper.
a really sunny day,
I mean, you
you have to
can.
like really put up in a dark room. Or...
I mean, you can get around that. I think you can get around that. It's a smart projector at the end of the day. It's like all about where you put it and whatnot.
And then do they like pair with speakers or something? Or
Yes.
oh, okay, cool.
So like depending on which one you get, I know there's a Samsung. Yeah, it's Samsung. It pairs with all your other Android devices or whatnot, and then
So, you know what? If I could go back, when I built this house and I decided to put in like sound and TV and all the rest of it, if I could go back, I wouldn't have put in any of the sound that I mean. At the time, it was a really good idea. There's these expensive speakers and like this really nice amp and like all the stuff that goes with it, and it was all really like expensive and cool. And I paid a fortune for it. But if I look back now, it was the dumbest thing I could have ever. All I needed was one of those portable speakers because
Yes.
that thing, which would cost me like, I don't know, $9,000 or something, is way cheaper and way better than any sound system I put in. And I can move it into any room I want. I don't have to do the whole house, right?
Yeah. Yes, I'm for that. I am
That was
for.
such a waste of money. If I have any regret about that sort of expenditure around a house, that would be the number one thing on the list.
Yeah, and sound is really
Yeah.
mad expensive.
But don't be. It was in your time, Gareth. It's like when I look at the furniture of our parents, I'm just like, in their time, this made sense. Like buying this bulky, couch, and then they'd cover it with like it's leather, but they covered it with another plastic thing because they didn't want that thing to get damaged. I'm just like, in your time, I understand this was the in thing. Me personally, I'm not doing that thing. I'm no.
Congo Chris says, just go to Ryan's house and you can get a free TV. Ryan, you're not going to live this down. I'm sorry.
I know. It's okay.
That's so funny. And you can connect like your phone to anything now, and you don't have to spend a ton of money on this stuff. It's just so brilliant compared to all the dumb things that I wasted money on. Think about that.
It just reminds me of when we were in high school and those shock speakers came out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we used to like go around with those little like
Yeah.
pocket speakers. But we had to have the cable because Bluetooth wasn't a big thing back then.
Carl says I'm the Kenny Quintene of audio equipment. Yes, all right, I'll take it. All right, it is 7:00. When we come back, we'll be talking to Thea Booysen. We'll be exploring the incredible world of like doing all this amazing stuff that she's doing. So not only YouTube and Twitch and everything else, but she's written a book. We'll talk about that, and we'll find out about her incredible life. She's from Cape Town, and it's just amazing where South Africans turn up. So that's coming up next, and don't go away. CliffCentral.com. It is a Wednesday morning with Simphiwe and Ryan and I, and we're waiting for you to join us if you haven't already. So come on down. Okay, we'll be back in just a second. Don't go anywhere.
This week on the Auto Trader podcast,
there is a new brand that it's worth the most. So what? Let's first define what makes a brand worth the most in terms of like the value of a car company.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you can call it the value of the brand as much as you can call it its market cap on a stock exchange.
People don't, what does that even mean though? I think is that.
Well, it's how much people are willing to buy the stock for.
Yeah.
This.
I mean, historically, Toyota and Tesla have been kind of at the top, and I think VW have been at the very top. VW for a lot of reasons. I mean, they own a lot of brands. One. Tesla, because it's kind of the fastest growing company, well, one of the fastest growing companies in the world. And then, So where do these guys come in? Who are they, first and foremost?
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
Essentially, a managed service provider is a business that pretty much empowers a company to be able to do what they need to do. So we look after the technology side of things. So pretty much looking after everything for the business. So to give you an idea, looking after the workstation support, the infrastructure management, then moving into the connectivity side of things, making sure that the connectivity is intact, looking after the security aspect. So it's pretty much encompassing, all of those services and putting them under one umbrella and having one central company to work with that has your best interests at heart and that makes sure that your business is running as efficiently as possible.
I'm Jaco Voigt, the CEO of Catalytic, and this is Unbundled. In this series, I help to demystify technology in the world of business. Join me as we explore how technology can make your business better. In this episode, we're chatting about managed service providers, or MSP for short. We're chatting about what a MSP is, why a business would use a MSP, and how to avoid common mistakes when choosing the right MSP for your business.
All right, Wednesday morning, and we are live. You can join us on the YouTube, drop us a comment, whatever the hell you're into, and tell us what you're doing this Wednesday. We've got some amazing stuff. I mean, I just heard Yaku talking there about, he told me about 2 scams that actually he experienced himself this week. There are some dodgy people out there. It's not just people who go up to Ryan's house and say, "Can we count your TVs?" There are lots of very dodgy people, and they're using very clever means to get your money. You got to be very sharp these days. You got to pay attention. Speaking of paying attention, if you don't know already, there are, honest to God, famous people on YouTube that are just amazing at what they do. And one of those people is a professional streamer, an author, and an academic. And she's also got her own YouTube and Twitch channel. She plays competitive card games. She plays games that spark her creative interest. She's written a book, which we'll talk to her about in a second. And in case you don't know who she is, she's also dating one of the most famous people on YouTube and in the world, Mr. Beast. And her name is Thea Booysen. She's from Cape Town. Hey, Thea, how's it?
Hey, Gareth. How are you guys doing?
So nice to meet you, and well done on all the stuff that you're doing. It's bloody incredible. I mean, isn't it great to be alive at this time?
It's amazing. There are so many opportunities. There's just nothing holding you back, and I'm just so privileged to be where I am right now. And I feel like I'm just getting started, though. I still have a lot of things I need to do.
Well, I mean, you're 24, right? And you've got a master. 25. You got a master's degree in neuropsychology.
Studying it now, yes.
Very impressive. Okay, so tell us where it all started for you, because a lot of people, and I said this at the beginning, it's amazing where South Africans turn up. We've got the richest guy in the world who was born in this country. You've got a princess in Monaco who was born in this country. We've got people who are hosting like late night TV shows in America. And then we've got you. How did this all start for someone who was born in Cape Town?
Yeah, well, all right. So I started with esports casting initially because I was studying at Stellenbosch. I was doing a degree in law, and my friends were going out each night, and I just wanted to sit back and play some video games, but I felt too guilty. So I thought, how can I do this productively? And I heard about this site called Twitch, which is where people can live stream to an audience. So I tried that a little bit, and I started doing that rather every other night. And a company in Poland called CD Projekt Red, who makes the Witcher game, they picked me up and hired me to start esports casting for them, which is very lucrative, by the way. So for a a 20-year-old at the time, that was a lot of money. So I saved that, used it to network more, and that's how I'm going to afford my studies in Scotland now for a master's degree, essentially, because it's a lot of money for an international student.
Absolutely. But I mean, what an incredible story. I mean, this is, again, what makes it so amazing to be around right now. There's so many opportunities. You just have to open your mind to it. And doing the things you really love can actually earn you money, which was never possible before. You had to work so that you could spend the money from work on the things that you loved.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I have a bit of a problem when it comes to relaxation. I always feel guilty if I'm not somehow
Mhm.
turning my hobby into a profit, which is why I also wrote the book, because I love reading. And again, I was studying, I felt guilty. Maybe I have the wrong mindset though, because I just felt like I'm doing a degree, I have to do well at that degree, and I can't afford to do anything else. So yeah, I turned my writing into a profitable business. I turned my gaming into a profitable business. And now, as I know more about what it takes to become a streamer in South Africa, I'm also talking with some streaming orgs. It's not yet official or anything, but I
Mhm.
want to own the largest gaming org in South Africa, or co-own. There are some
Wow.
great people who are already
Sure.
involved, and we want to connect South African streamers with people who want South African brands, essentially, because there's a lot of money involved and they don't know
hell
where
yeah.
to find our people. So if we can connect those two, we can help so many South African kids achieve their dreams as well. So that's currently
Well,
a side hustle I think I'm going to pursue.
that sounds like a massive, massive business. I mean, it's common knowledge now that gaming online is a bigger industry than sport and movies and music combined, which
Yes.
just tells you how enormous it is. All right. So, I mean, for many people that don't know what some of the stuff is, like esports casting and that kind of thing, let's just talk about your book for a second, because that's something a lot of people can understand. So, you've written this book. It's called The Marked Children, right? And it is, yeah, just show the book off. There it is. Take a look, everybody. There it is, The Marked Children. So the story is what basically this kid finds a symbol on his arm, and
Yes.
a whole bunch of other kids woke up with the same mark. I mean, it sounds like this is this a scary book? Is this a horror or a thriller or something?
Well, I'd say don't give it to your kids. Maybe wait until you're 13. Essentially, it's our guy is actually in South Africa, but I don't mention it until the end because I want it to be more relatable. You know how international audiences are. They don't understand when you're using kilometers. They use miles. My editors in Britain didn't understand anything I was writing. But you have these kids all over the world, and one day they wake up with these marks on their arm. And each color mark represents the sort of reason they're going to be abducted, but they don't know it yet. So our main character, John, wakes up with a black mark, and 2 days later, he is abducted, wakes up on this new planet where all these missing children are. They've been there for years. They have this camp in the middle of a wilderness with these alien monsters trying to kill them. And essentially, they all need to sort of work together and try and get back home. But it's a whole philosophical thing about why they're abducted, why do their marks have certain colors, and I think it's very relatable to any kids. Yeah,
So you're amazing, because you're doing you're studying this degree, which is no small thing. I mean, a master's degree is not messing around. For some people, that's a full-time thing. You're also doing all your online stuff. You are taking an interest in a business which will hopefully take gaming in this country to the next level and connect people in a way for them to also earn money. And then you write a book. How do you get time to do all of this stuff? And you have a relationship.
Yes. Luckily, I only met Jimmy in South Africa after I did my honors degree in psychology. So I had a year off while I was waiting for Scotland to pull through, because their classes start in September, ours start in February. So I had time finally for a guy, because I was just telling them, I don't have time right now. You kind of have to prioritize things. I kept telling myself, like, you can't do what everybody's doing and expect different results, you know?
Right.
So I would write my book at night after my classes, and my friends would go out and enjoy life. And I'd feel so depressed about it, but I kept saying, I can't publish a book and not write the book. Like, it takes time. And with streaming, I mean, most people play games, especially my age and younger. It's the new generation are all gaming. So all you do is you put on a cam, a mic, you press go live, you have your friends watching you. So you socialize and you play games, killing two birds with one stone. So there's always time to do some streaming if you're thinking about going in that direction as a young teenager.
Okay, so obviously, a lot of people will know you, even though you guys keep things very low key. I've watched a couple of the videos that your boyfriend Jimmy, Mr. Beast, has put up, and some of the ones that you put up. I did see that you were both on that trip to Japan, which looked absolutely insane.
It was
crazy. You stayed in the most expensive hotel probably in the world, definitely in Japan, right?
You'd think so. Japan's economy is worse than ours.
Oh.
Did you know this? I didn't.
So I mean, tell us about the experience and what is it like to do? Because again, you talk about all the work that you're doing behind the scenes, because people don't often take notice of that stuff. They always see the good, exciting, and glamorous and expensive parts of your life. They see you going on these incredible holidays and things, and they see you and your boyfriend doing wild, interesting, amazing stuff. But they don't see the work behind the scenes. It must be a pretty cool break from reality to do that, even though it's not your day-to-day life.
Of course. Yeah, well, when I initially met Jimmy, I wasn't looking for a YouTuber boyfriend. I expected them to be a bit immature, but having an alter ego they put on for the camera. So I went to see him out of pure curiosity when I heard he was here. And when I met him, I saw, at least with his YouTube business, it's a business. When I got to America, he has this massive building with like 200 employees working full time, because they have many teams having to make videos to put up a weekly video, and they have a big philanthropy goal. So two of his biggest philanthropy guys working for him, Darren and Dan, they both are from South Africa, which is a big coincidence. So you'll see if you go onto his philanthropy channel, a lot of the videos he's doing now is purely South African, because of our guys from South Africa organizing all these things, which is just so cool. But essentially, it's all planning. It's so much stress. It's working from 10 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, maybe longer. And then here and there, you get to do a fun video. And I mean, it's edited in such a way that you only see the really fun parts. But even on set, you've got this whole convoy of cars, everybody's stressing. We've got to do this, and this now, or we lose millions of dollars. And he actually does lose money. I still don't quite understand how this works, but he loses money every single video. But he has his profit brand. Yeah, he does give away a lot. So he makes his profit through merchandise he sells, and that funds the video, essentially. So yeah, it's a lot of stress. I don't think a lot of kids know what they're signing up for.
So let me ask you this, because I reckon a lot of, especially a lot of young people who don't know how the world of YouTube really works, and they see it and they think, oh, that would be cool. And it looks like this is the easiest way to have a great life and make tons of money and have all the fun, and you don't have to worry about it. But from a relationship point of view, were you a bit suspicious in the beginning? Because first of all, you don't want to be a prop in someone else's media empire, right? And you want the relationship to be more meaningful and important than number of views on YouTube or somebody talking. And people also going to talk a lot of shit about you, whether you like it or not. Were you a bit nervous to get into that world because it was so different to the world that you'd come from?
Of course. I mean, I always see people bad-mouthing any girl going out with a successful guy. So I knew it was to come. I knew it wasn't personal, because all my friends know me very well. My community here in South Africa knows me. They know I'm not the type. But essentially, we've gone out for about 1.5 years now, and I've never appeared in one of his videos. He rarely tags me on Instagram. The goal was really to take it very, very slow. And I think I'll be appearing in one of his videos for the first time now in the next month or two, as somebody in the backdrop, because I go on the trips with them, and what happens is I'll go hide in a closet when they're walking through the house and they're filming, because I really don't want to be on the camera. It's very funny. I've gotten very creative. I'll hide in the garden real quick, or anything not to be on camera, and accidentally sort of change the dynamic because it's the boys and it's Jimmy and they're filming
Sure.
together and having fun. But that's all purely because of the community, and you want to
Yeah.
get serious in a relationship too, right? You don't want to just throw every girl you're dating with into your channel and disrupt the flow of things. But we're very serious at this point, so we are going a little bit further.
How
Yeah.
much time do you actually get to spend with each other? Because he's always on the move. You clearly have got
Yeah.
a full plate. I mean, how do you guys actually find time to be together?
Yes. Well, because he is his job is so unconventional. He's either planning his next video for 2 weeks, and I see him 2 to 3 hours a day. In which case we really have to make it work. So he'll have 30 minutes off between filming some shorter video, and I'll drop by the studio, quickly say hello, and then I'm back home. And luckily my work's remote, so when I study, I can study wherever I go. I can write wherever I go, stream wherever I go. So when he's filming, I get to spend the whole day with him. So every time the camera's off, we're sitting in the car, we're quickly eating something, drinking a coffee, or if we're in Japan, for instance, I get to walk alongside them, tour Japan, and then when the cameras are on, I just quickly disappear again so they can get the content. So
Well,
we make it work.
I'm impressed because I know lots of people who have plenty of time on their hands and they still can't make a relationship work. So clearly you guys have got some sort of formula going on there that works. How long does it take to write a book like The Marked Children? Is that a bigger project than anything else that you've done so far, including the degree?
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
The reason for that is I don't think you can't really go up to somebody and ask, how do I write a book? You can do a creative writing course, but you'll find that people are doing a PhD in creative writing and still haven't written a book because they just keep on postponing it. So I had to sort of teach myself how to write it. I just started in high school because we were doing these little 300-word essays and we have all these projects, and I thought, well, let's change it into a book. But you quickly learn, nothing about character development, nothing about how to get from page 1 to page 400 without having like little story arcs. So essentially I rewrote the book so much that it took me 7 years to finish.
Gee.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I feel like it would be wasted time if I don't write another book knowing what I know now. And I could probably do it in 2.5 years if I were to start after this degree. But it should be a passion and a hobby. You shouldn't do it for an income. You shouldn't quit your day job. You should do all these things on the side and sort of just enjoy doing it, or else it's going to be a waste of your time.
Yeah, say that don't quit your day job thing again, because a lot of people, again, get this idea that a lot of people think that, oh, no, if I just do this one thing, then that'll be enough. It's never enough, especially for people who are ambitious. So you're in Cape Town at the moment?
Yes, I landed 2 days ago, I think.
Cool. And
yes.
Who's there? Like, you've got a mom, sisters, brothers. What do you got? What's the family situation?
So living with mom. I have my little sister. She's 5 years younger than me. And we have a house here in Cape Town. So we've been together for all these years. She's a doctor. She's amazing. She supports us.
Does your mom understand all this stuff that you're doing? I mean, it's kind of difficult to explain to people who don't know it, esports casting, for example. Did she get this in the beginning, or was she nervous? Did she think you were doing something that needed, her to watch over you, or she needed to know more about this? Does she watch your stuff online?
Look, I got some side glances in the beginning when I had to describe that I have a camera and a mic. People see me and they give me money. It was very difficult to explain. I think the moment I got my first esports job, I could tell people I'm hired by a company in Poland. That's how she could also explain to her patients finally what I'm doing without getting weird stares. The money talks, but yeah, I find that a lot of people who start streaming really struggle to convince their parents what they're doing is essentially a future job if they do it correctly. But it was awkward at first, yes.
All right, so what do you want to do in another 5 years? You already mentioned another book, which you want to do in 2, but like what kind of What kind of future do you see for yourself?
Good question. Well, right now, it has been my life goal to get a master's degree in a different country because I wanted to set up sort of backup options in case I don't get a job here or the salary isn't good enough. I wanted to have an option to go abroad. I sort of found a loophole by accident now that I'm visiting Jimmy, but I got into Scotland after years of studying to do that. Now I kind of want to go into research there because they have laboratories that we don't have here in South Africa. So
in neuropsychology?
Oh, I can talk all day about neuropsychology. So the University of Stellenbosch doesn't even have a neuropsychology faculty, which isn't their fault. Our country doesn't have a system in place yet that allows you to work as a neuroscientist with the correct credentials. Like we can become a clinical psychologist, etc. But I know the top neuroscience scientist in like the country, and she's struggling to actually implement this program. So UCT has 6 spots for a master's in neuroscience, only 6. So obviously, I'm not getting in there to do it.
So what is the overlap? I mean, I hate to get super nerdy about this, but this is a fascinating area of research, and clearly it's something that you can explain to us. So I understand, like, neurology is the study of nerves, so the actual nerve cells, the gray matter of the brain and spinal cord, the way that synapses work, all of that stuff. But neuropsychology, because psychology is about treating people, therapy, mental illness, understanding, how medication works with nerves and how we can create new neural pathways. Again, are these areas all linked, or is it very gray and mixed up?
For sure. I think you said it excellently. So in each country, it differs vastly, the definition. So in our country, we'd call it neuropsychology, like you said. And what would happen is you would work to treat patients with brain issues. So the hospital would often refer a patient to a neuropsychologist to go for testing to figure out exactly what part of the brain is damaged. So you'll do this whole battery of tests. You'll figure out exactly what's going on. Maybe they are struggling with dementia or they have a traumatic brain injury, and you have to figure out exactly how severe it is. That's sort of your job here. That's not what I wanted to do, however. I wanted to essentially go into the research field. So I want my own laboratory, and I want to go into theoretical things like the definition of consciousness and how dreams work. And, that's what Scotland, that's what they're doing. So that's why I decided to go there specifically. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Are we getting any closer to agreeing on a definition of consciousness? I mean, I listen to Sam Harris quite often, and he seems to have some very hardcore, very practical, very cold definitions of what consciousness is. I mean, he also says that the self doesn't exist. I mean, how do you see all of that stuff while we're in this nerdy department that you and I are shopping in right now?
He's an atheist, isn't he? I've spoken to quite a few of his colleagues. They don't agree, but it's a very biased field, isn't it? Well, to me, it's bizarre. We can pinpoint the part of the brain responsible for speech, hearing, you've got Broca's area, etc. We cannot pinpoint the part of the brain solely responsible for consciousness. At first, you have to figure out a conceptual definition for what that even is. But
we can't even find a place for self. We can't even see what self-awareness looks like in the brain. Like they try to map these, but it's impossible because the whole brain lights up.
Exactly. And isn't that crazy that you have electricity in your brain? That's the most bizarre thing. We're these biological organisms. We pretend we're just sacks of meat that die if you're an atheist and there's nothing more to it. But we're running on electricity that's just like shooting signals constantly. I think there's a possibility that there could be more to it. I'm not biased, but the entire reason I'm going off to Scotland is to really test some of these theories out, because they like going into the weird scientific things. They have a parapsychology department where they study the paranormal, it's obviously it's a bit far-fetched, but I thought, hey, that sounds pretty interesting. I want to see what's going on there.
Well, I mean, isn't it going to be exciting when Neuralink come up with a way to interface between biological brain cells and computer chips? I mean, then really, that will be the cutting edge of how we treat people.
Yeah, that's absolutely bizarre. I think that would be the next step in our human evolution, is like combining us with technology. And Elon Musk says we're already combined with technology, right? If you watch people walk down the street, they have a phone attached to their hand. I mean, we've already implemented into our lives. I don't see why we'd stop there, to be honest.
It's scary. So Ryan and Simphiwe are very big on YouTube. They're teaching me about like people I don't even know, introducing me to people like you, which is awesome, because we've just had a conversation I didn't expect to have about neuropsychology, for example. But the two of them are fascinated with how it works behind the scenes. In fact, Simphiwe has her own show where she talks just about the kind of things that these influencers and YouTubers and streaming people do. So I'm sure you guys have got some questions. What do you want to talk to Thea about?
So I'll start, Ryan, because you got a bit of a chance to ask her questions yesterday. So
I've used up all of her time. I'm sorry,
So I'm curious to find your take on some of the latest trends, like be it on TikTok or the streaming platforms where like there's now NPCs and like you can now be a sleep streamer, and it's like it's changing how people consume content. And I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, yes, it depends where you draw the line, right? Because I feel like here in South Africa, we have a lot of traditional values. I came from an Afrikaans school, so when I went into this business, I was very afraid that I would be judged because people wouldn't understand what I'm doing. But yes, you have people pushing the limits of what we would normally view as acceptable content, right? So the NPC craze that you're talking about, for the viewers back home, it's essentially a person sitting in front of the screen for like 8 hours a day. You donate them money in the form of little emotes and pictures, and then they talk like a robot to you for 8 hours, pretend that they're just sort of this virtual thing talking back to you. They make thousands of dollars doing that. There's a reason they're doing that. And then the sleeping one you're talking about is where a streamer who's already got a name for themselves will basically go to bed like on my couch, and they'll keep the camera on, and that's the stream. People watch them, and they make money while they sleep. Now, I don't do that personally. I'm not judging, but yeah, people go wild. There's an endless amount of things you could do, and people will watch you. It's kind of bizarre.
Gareth would hate that.
I know, right?
Gareth, you wouldn't watch somebody streaming just like sleeping there.
Yeah.
But you see people watch it, and I'm just like, what the hell's going on? But also, like, how has working with Mr. Beast, as we know him, and you call him Jimmy, how has that influenced how you produce content now and the quality of content? Because I saw one of your vlogs and I was like, oh, girl, you're right up there.
Yeah. So it's interesting. People ask this. My content has sort of stayed very similar, but the way I think about it has changed. So I view it more business-like now. So the thing is, even though you see the videos, the way I make my income is through brand deals and sponsorships. So when I am talking to them off stream, I am talking far more business. I know exactly what my monetary value is per viewer watched. So if anything, I can now negotiate for more funds when I am sponsoring a product. And that's also why I really want to connect South African streamers with brands, because they don't know their worth. It is absolutely insane, because you know how you make income normally. It's through advertisements, right? Even on TV. It's the amount of people watching the show, they watch the ad. Right. So a lot of these smaller streamers do these things and don't even realize that they're worth a lot more, and they could be asking these big businesses like Samsung and LG a lot more money for just advertising their product on their stream. So that's sort of what I'm doing now, is I'm more negotiating behind the scenes and making permanent, lasting relationships with some bigger overseas companies.
That's big. So Carl, who's a creepy, he says, can you please ask Thea if she's at the point where she can sell her bath water yet? We know that's the thing. Some people have made a lot of money out of selling their bath water.
I totally could. I won't though. My South African people, they'll never forgive me for doing that.
Yeah, is it difficult also when you are moving in circles that you move, because your boyfriend could pretty much meet anyone in the whole world that he wanted to right now, and then because you're around, you could meet them too. Is it hard to maintain the friendships and relationships that you had before, and explain to those people how much your life has changed, even if it's just in the time that you're around him? I mean, it's to
Yeah.
anyone else, it's a relationship. It's like, if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you don't think about it as being this this whole thing where you have to be a different person when you're around them. But you have to think about being the same person when you're around the people who knew you before.
Absolutely. I can't even picture it from my friend's perspective sometimes, and I feel almost guilty because I haven't changed at all. It's rather funny. But the numbers on Instagram has times 100, and people suddenly act like I am this famous person, but really I'm the same person. So I really go out of my way to still meet with my friends here in South Africa. Like 3 days ago, I was in Johannesburg for a work, and I met with a friend I haven't seen in 3 years from Stellenbosch. So catching up with them is just awesome. And ironically, your really close friends, they don't change. It's the acquaintances you haven't heard of 8 years ago who are suddenly asking for favors. It's very awkward sometimes. But I wouldn't say I've changed, luckily. And if anything, I really try to involve them in, can I, Jimmy really wants to fly people out because that's what he does for business all the time. And I tell my friends, this is a real offer. Please come visit me in America. Like, it's not a big deal. I know it sounds bizarre, but I've convinced some of them, and they've gotten their visas. They've stayed with me for a week. I could show them around, show them what life's like behind the scenes. And I
Nice.
visit them as often as I can. Honestly, it's work, but it's worth holding on to those friendships you had beforehand, for sure.
All right, so I don't want you to do any spoilers or anything here, but you did say your relationship is becoming a whole lot more serious. So it's not just some flippant thing where you've been together for like a month and you don't know whether it's going anywhere or not. Without spoiling anything, can you tell us how serious things are?
Pretty serious. We're going house hunting a bit in America, and
Very nice.
That's
Ye-
nice.
We actually have a
Yeah.
picture here, Gareth. I'm going to put it up. There it
Aw.
is.
That's beautiful. That's in that thing in Japan that you two were in.
Yeah, Team Labs. That was so
Beautiful.
cool.
That's
It's
such a
an art experience, but it's a 3D one. It was so cool.
That's a very cool picture. I mean,
Oh.
I don't know how many people get to do couple pictures that are that cool. So that's nice.
He always takes his best side. Very frustrating. I can't do anything about that.
All right, so hunting.
yeah.
This is good.
Yeah. No, I mean we've had the full discussion. I obviously you have to, because I am uprooting my whole life here and going there. It's a lot. So I'm going to do my studies now in Scotland, and the idea is to sort of, I want to say immigrate, but the thing is, I'm not leaving South Africa per se. I'm constantly coming back here for friends and family. But along the lines, I think I will sort of go towards moving there and setting up my work there, getting paid in dollars.
Makes
all
sense.
that grown-up things.
You don't have
Well,
to.
I mean,
That makes perfect sense. There's no one who's going to disagree with you.
I mean, there was a time, Gareth. There was a story I heard there where Mr. Beast came through to visit you for like a day.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know how many hours it is to get here. Isn't it like 20 plus hours or so to fly here? And then he spends 24 hours and then leaves again to go and attend to his schedule, which is crazy to me.
His company was calling me back then because we've only known each other for 3 to 4 weeks, and he really wanted to get to know me better. And they were begging me to tell him not to come because he has to film. And it was a 34-hour flight here and back.
Wow.
So it was 68
Wow.
hours. And
West
he
Coast,
did-
huh?
yeah, it was crazy. But now we have direct flights, so it's 17 hours, luckily. But first you had to go to Qatar or Germany, then you come down. So he really wanted to sort of make things more serious, but it was really difficult because we can't see each other in person. So it was unconventional. So he did that about 3 times. And then I finally got a visa and I went there. So because of his schedule, it just makes sense that I'm the one who visits in America and I can work remotely, sort of fill in the gaps with his schedule. And that's sort of how we make it work at the moment.
Do you do normal holidays where you don't have to have cameras around?
Of course. It's yes. Yes.
Is that the holidays you look forward to? You're like, finally.
Relax. I don't have to hide in the cupboard when they start with the filming.
Yeah, it's uncanny. You get used to the camera just always being there. So you sort of, at first you're very awkward, of course, but after a while, it's just, there's always, whether it's to get behind the scenes footage for some future project or whatever. But yeah, that's when he gets time off, is we'll chill and we'll shoo the cameras away and we just catch up. So that's why I'm normally not on camera anyway. But yeah, you have to fight for those moments, that's for sure.
Sanele wants to know, did you actually know who he was before you guys started dating or before you met?
I knew of him and PewDiePie. So I started following Mr. Beast when I was in high school. That was 2016, because he was doing these massive charity projects, Team Trees and Team Seas, where he was cleaning the ocean and people from all over the world were donating millions and planting trees, and $1 planted 1 tree, something along those lines. So I was like, wow, this guy's pretty awesome. And I wasn't watching his content regularly because it was more, I don't know, I feel younger children liked it more. It was more sort of overacting, over exaggeration, you know, that's how you get their attention.
Don't criticize his stuff now. I mean,
no, not at all.
Just being honest.
That's why everybody's kid knows who he is, but even people my age sometimes don't quite know who he is. It's like generation gap. Yeah, so I know of him. So when he came here, I thought, wow, there's awesome guys here. That's crazy. But I didn't go to meet him because I don't want to be that person who bothers you on your vacation. But my friend was just taking every minute she could to go out and party. So I was like, all right, you know what? The last day he's here, I'll quickly drop by and say hello. Out of pure curiosity, I want to see how he is behind the scenes. And that's where he liked talking about neuroscience and my book. And
oh wow,
I was like,
you guys
wow.
have lots of stuff in common. So clearly, you know, even
yes.
And this is a strange thing. Like, people always think when you meet someone famous, you have to talk about them the whole time or their work. And most of the time, that's the last thing they want to do. You know, I've met lots of people who do incredible stuff, and sometimes you connect on the weirdest things. Like, you know, we were talking about scary movies this morning, and that's one of Simphiwe's favorite things. I reckon that the stuff that really keeps a relationship together is being interested in at least a few things across the board, both of you. All right, so let's talk about this next book. Is it going to be a follow-on from the Mark Children, or is it going to be very different?
It's a good question. It's such a commitment writing a follow-up book, because you need to make sure the first one sells as well as the second one. I almost wanted to try, like a psychological thriller, speaking of horrors. Yeah, I have ideas. It's just so much work. I'm almost afraid to start again, because I'm like, I'd rather start right after I get this master's degree, because I'm paying for this one myself. It's my first studies. I'm fully funding. So I really want to give it absolutely every second of my time. And then thereafter, I want to go all out with a career here in content creation, whether by writing or, like I said, connecting streamers with brand opportunities, and obviously growing my own content in whatever form that might take place over the years.
What kind of merchandise are you going to do?
Good question. We were thinking about that just the other day. I can talk about a lot of things, but I don't even know. I don't know how unpolitical do you get here? What weird topics do you?
You can be political, you can be wacky, you can be paranormal. You do whatever you like on this show. There's no rules.
Yeah, we were just joking the other day. We were in Los Angeles shooting for Jimmy, and I went to these stores and they would be selling CBD in like little commercialized packets that look like candy. And I thought
Yeah.
this is so bizarre. What a bizarre thing. This would sell so well in South Africa since we did that thing the other day where we legalized it. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
but I can't do that. That's a children's brand. Jimmy's a children's brand. I can't. But I'm thinking, what do we not have here that we could possibly bring here in the future?
That sounds like like
that was
gummies.
interesting.
Weed gummies would probably be a big seller here. I think there are already people who are trying to do it.
Yeah, that's. I was following it back in when I was doing my bachelor's in law. We were following this case because it wasn't legal, and it was so cool watching it unfold. And eventually, they legalized using it in your home. But I don't believe they've actually figured out whether it's legal to sell it and buy it, which is funny because how are you going to use it if you didn't buy it from somebody, right?
They're just leaving enough of it in the criminal underworld for it to be corrupted. But I'm blown away by all of this stuff, and I'm so pleased that you got to spend some time with us this morning. I hope you enjoy Cape Town. How long are you around for?
Until the 2nd of September. Then I'm off to Scotland.
Sure.
That's around the corner.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes. Very excited.
And then you're going to find yourself in a Scottish winter. Ugh.
Yes, I heard it's very cold and dark and depressing.
Yeah. You're going to be able to write that thriller in that climate.
I think it's going to be a real life thriller, honestly. I'll have to try my best to adapt.
Well, what a pleasure to meet you, and thanks for being on the show. It's so nice to have a conversation about this stuff.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. It was awesome coming on.
Very good. There's Thea Booysen, everybody, and you can follow her. In case you don't already know, I'm going to put this up so that people know. I mean, if you don't know who she is, you're really not on the internet. But there we go. Thea Booysen. So nice to see you. Thanks, Thea. We'll catch up soon.
Thanks very much, Gareth.
Bye-bye. There we go. Isn't she cool?
Oh, she's dope.
Right?
She's dope.
She's great.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased we spoke to her.
She's super smart, and then she's also a streamer. Like for me, it was like wait, what?
And just she's got her shit together, She's not she's one of these people who's chasing rainbows. She's got very smart, sensible goals, and it seems to me like she can do a bunch of different things at the same time, which is really, really incredible. All right, so well done, Ryan. Nice idea to bring her on, and I'm sure that you and Simphiwe are thrilled too, because you guys pay way more attention to the stuff than I do, and you're teaching me things. You see, I'm meeting people I didn't know I'd enjoy meeting. Look at this.
Well, we have some fascinating South Africans. I mean, young South Africans especially as well. And it's just cool to see them doing cool, like great things.
Yeah,
it makes a lot of us feel like we're not doing much.
But wait, speaking about South Africans and doing cool, great things, I saw an article where they were telling us the Doja Cat got a new tattoo, and she's also like South African, and I'm just looking at her career unfold, and I'm like, wait, what is going on with Doja? She's pulling a Sam Smith on us. I feel like that's going to be the term now, where she started really high. Like she came here banging. Her music is still dope, but her appearances and the things that she does outside of the music is just...
Is this it?
Yeah, look at that new tattoo.
Oh, no. She's got like a sickle on the back of her ear. Plus, how many piercings are going on in that ear? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So she just announced her new album coming out in September. It's going to be out within like a month.
And I'm worried because she's been doing creepy things. Like she's like, everyone's worried about her. Everyone's like, and there's this conspiracy theory that she sold her soul, and that's why she's acting the way she's acting, because she does these weird things.
She's not an ugly person. Why is she making herself ugly? I mean, it's the same as Sam Smith didn't look horrible before he started willfully making himself ugly. I think we've forgotten, or we're trying so hard to be different in the world today. We're all trying to stick out, right? And some of these people already, they stick out because they write good music, or they sing beautifully, or they act, or they have something interesting to contribute. I find it so bizarre that people are trying to make themselves ugly. They're like going out of their way to make themselves look as bad as possible. It's almost like there's this self-destructive streak that runs through people that they can't even believe their own fame. So they now self-sabotage. I don't know, let me shave all my hair off. Let me put on a huge amount of weight.
Britney Spears is like leading that cult.
Yeah, exactly. Let me get as wacky and out there and scary as I can possibly get. It's just such a strange thing. There is a South African who we really should have had on the show this morning, because he just reminded me, he sent me a WhatsApp now, Professor David Block, to say,
yes!
to say we got a blue moon tonight. And I feel really bad because we should have thought to get him on the show. But he says tonight, enjoy the blue moon. It will be spectacular. That's my best David Block impersonation. But yeah, tonight.
I love him so much.
So you must look into the night sky tonight. You'll see the moon. It's going to look much bigger and much more impressive than it usually does. Apparently, this only happens once every now and then. He says, do watch it tonight again, dear Gareth. So there's from Professor David Block reminding you that you should look up this evening and see the stars and everything else. It's going to be very impressive. But you're right. Like, I mean, I was blown away that Thea, for example, told us about these two South Africans who are basically running Mr. Beast's business in America. And
so
they're at the forefront of kind of driving so many of his philanthropic projects.
So if you are on YouTube and you know a lot of the local guys, there's a guy named Dan Mace who's absolutely brilliant. He's one of the best South African YouTubers we have. And his house actually caught fire during those Knysna fires, and he kind of moved off to LA. And he was going to pursue some film stuff there. So I presume they all kind of met there, because I think at the time when Thea met Mr. Beast, they were all kind of getting together, him, Logan Paul, Casey Neistat, to go to Antarctica to shoot a video. But at the time, the 6 or 7 people that were in Antarctica all caught COVID, and so they couldn't go on the trip. That's why they stayed in South Africa longer.
Wow.
And so now it's just interesting how everything's coming full circle. And so that philanthropy channel of Mr. Beast is they like building charities, and they're making videos around it, and it's getting millions of views as well. But these South African guys, so I think it's Darren and Dan Mace, are both running that side of things. So it's nice to see that, yeah, they're actually doing, and I mean, Mr. Beast has no affiliation here. I mean, he's how many hours away? And it's just nice to see that they're coming and making a difference, you know?
I'm amazed by the people in our audience. Look at what John Bad Dog says. He's just caught 2 thieves that have been robbing our area in Benoni, small farms, for months. One got away, shots fired to bring them down. Good work.
Yeah.
I love when bad people get caught. And Simphiwe, you should be especially happy because that's your hood.
Benoni, it's Boxburg, okay? We're a bit more classy.
The residents set cameras up. The police were no help at all. So the residents of the area, I think that's amazing. Don, who's clearly in law enforcement, says we got a directive on Friday that we cannot arrest people for possession of weed anymore unless you have dealer quantities like a kilo. So that's interesting.
I'm glad you brought that up, because there's so many there's like a discrepancy in this law that they've legalized this whole thing, right? It's such a gray area where they've left it where maybe they'll prosecute you or maybe they won't. And it's so weird because they don't specify amounts, they don't specify if you can carry or not. And if they do, you know, like I know, or I think I know, you can carry up to like just under 2 kilos before they can actually do anything with you. But to me, that's bizarre. Well, that just doesn't sound like something viable.
How much is a kilogram? I really don't know this. So how much in quantity, like size-wise?
That's
a lot of weed, right? I mean, that's a kilogram is a fortune. So you don't need, unless you are a dealer, you don't need to be walking around or moving around or driving around with more than a kilogram.
No.
But the thing is, how
there's
do you
no direct
get
law.
it?
Exactly. Yeah, well, that's the thing, because you're not allowed to buy it and you're not allowed to sell it, but you're allowed to grow it. So then, do you buy the seeds, or like, because I'm assuming they don't sell the seeds, right? Like this, it's just one thing that's really frustrated me over the last year or two, is there's such a gray area in this whole situation.
I don't know, because I've never bought weed, and I mean that. 2 bricks size, says Steve. That's a lot. So, okay. I mean, according to Don, they won't arrest you for anything more than a kilo. So that's what you needed to know, Ryan. You needed clarity. Now you got it. All right.
I hate giving the police any reason to have that gray area where they can
because it will be
you know.
abused.
Exactly.
I will say police, men, women are assholes in general. If they want to arrest you, they will arrest you. Okay, like no.
Every single one.
Every single one. Like they will. If they're in the mood to, they will find something. They'll be like, this law, this thing, this what.
Yeah.
So just know when you are dealing with a policeman or a woman, it's the ball's in their court. Honestly, you could know the law and be like, I know my rights.
Right.
In jail for 24 hours.
Let's see how many rights you know. Can I tell you, it's the women that are the worst. If you get stopped by a guy, I mean, you could be reasonable or have Simphiwe in the seat, like sweet talking him. But if you get a police woman pull you over, that is a hard one to crack. You're gonna, she'll find a reason to find something wrong.
You try to talk back, but
Carl says a kilo is a really big amount. You'll have, if you have a kilo on you, you're 100% selling.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, all right. Apparently, you can buy the seeds. There's lots of useful information from all our drug addict and drug users on the show. 100 Rand per gram. Is that what we're paying?
I have no idea.
Patrick says you could buy the seeds legally. All right. Very interesting.
Very interesting.
So we've learned a lot this morning. One other thing I want to quickly let you know about. Tonight, I will be on ENCA with JJ Tabane.
Oh, yes.
What's JJ Tabane? Because he's invited me on his show because we asked him to come on the Burning Platform. And he said he'll only come and do the Burning Platform if I go on his show. I said,
that
cool.
is going to be fire.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
What time is it?
So Ryan and Dory invited him on the show tomorrow. So I've got to go on his show tonight so that he knows that I'll be on his show. Otherwise, he knows that I'll try and get out of it. So I'm going to be on with Onkopotse JJ Tabane tonight. I don't know what we're talking about. I have no idea. Hopefully it'll be interesting. Hopefully there'll be some stuff to laugh at and some stuff to make us think. Maybe we'll agree, maybe we'll disagree. But don't miss the Burning Platform tomorrow with Pumi Mashiko and JJ Tabane. It's going to be lots and lots of fun. All right. Very good. Then Simphiwe, we're going to see you on Friday.
Yes. And for everybody that was confused, sorry. Friday is still coming.
And if people are wondering, there's nothing wrong with Lebang. She's fine. We just we decided this morning we'd swap things out a little bit, but we'll have Lebang back next week as well. So don't worry. If you're missing her, she's going to be back too. All right, everybody. Have an awesome day. This is Wednesday, the 30th of August, cliffcentral.com. Lots and lots of fun. Let us know your feedback. You can always send us an email. You can always tell us what you want to talk about, who you want on the show, all of that stuff. We read every single email. Contact@cliffcentral.com. Cheers. Have a good day.